Hi and welcome to this video on compression. Now today we're going to talk to you about how to upload a video to a social media platform, be it YouTube or Facebook, and ensure that the video stays HD and does not get compressed to the point where it looks like absolute crap. So let's get into it. Right, so first things first, I'm going to open up Firefox. Now all I'm going to search for is YouTube upload HD bitrate. Now, when you look below, these are the recommended upload encoding settings for videos on YouTube. Now, for the recommended video bit rates for STR uploads, so you've got 2160p/4K. So video bitrate, standard frame rate, 35 to 45 megabytes per second. Now, video bitrate, high frame rate, 48, 50, 60, 53, 68. Now, what that means is, for example, most videos that are like filmed at a standard frame rate, meaning that like you're filming standard 4K 30 frames per second, you're just doing normal 4K video, you're not doing any slow-mo, you haven't used the special 4K 60 frames per second mode to do slow-mo, blah 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 blah. You're going to want to export your video and ensure that it's between 35 to 45 megabytes per second. Now if you're using slow-mo, you want to ensure it's 53 to 68 megabytes per second. Now the problem with those numbers, before you think, oh, that's easy, I can upload that. Before you upload these numbers, what you have to remember is that every single social media platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, etc., will compress your video down regardless of those numbers because they need to save their own bandwidth. Now, there is a way around it. It's really simple. That's what this video is about. Right. So, if we look at the screen, we can see that the video bitrate for 2160p 4K is 35 to 45 megabytes per second, right? If we go down, 2K, 60 megabytes per second, 1080p, 8 megabytes per second, 720p, 5 megabytes per second, and so forth. If you're using different frame rates, for example, 48 frames per second, 50 frames per second, or 60 frames per second, you want to be looking at these numbers. Now, like I said, the numbers aren't super important. They are to a degree. We're going to work with them, but there's a reason why we're looking at these, and we will look at others. Right. So I'll quickly get into it. Now, a quick workaround for those kind of bit rates is, for example, you've got your 480 clip. This is just an example clip. It's just a 4K drone clip from Milton Keynes. Now, in Premiere, for example, this is available, I believe, for Windows as well as MacBook programs. When you go to File, when you go to Export, for example, and Media, what you'll normally get most of the time is if you scroll down into the presets, you have things like Facebook 720p, you've got Facebook 1080p, you've got Facebook 2160p 4K Ultra HD, etc, etc. You've got Vimeo options here, you've got YouTube options down the bottom. You've got also what I tend to use, these high quality ones. So you've got high quality 480p, high quality 480p SD, 720p HD, 1080p HD, 4K HD, etc, etc. Now, for example, we'll click on the high quality 4K one and we'll quickly scroll down and I'll show you what this is about. Now, for example, here you've got bitrate settings when you go into Premiere, for example. And as you can see, the target bitrate is 80. Now if we go back to what our numbers were, we were looking at 35 to 45 megabytes per second instead. So you're maybe wondering yourself, like, why is it so high? Why has the preset on Premiere set it as 80 megabytes? Now, the reason for that is when you upload a video to a social media site, it has its own compression algorithm, meaning that anything kind of on their bandwidth, so for not their bandwidth, their bitrate level. So for example, say their bandwidth limit is, or bitrate limit, sorry, is 35 to 45 megabytes per second. The issue with that is it will compress anything below that, if that makes any sense. So it's going to compress it regardless. Now what you want to basically do, or what Premiere's trying to do, is you're basically trying to give yourself an overhead, which is what the algorithm compresses, and then it leaves your HD video completely untouched. Does that make any sense? Hopefully. So for example, this video is, for example, my output is going to be a it's a target, it's an 18 megabytes per second video. Now, I don't have to export at that if I want to, and I still want to have a really nice HD, I can do high quality 1080p. Now, for example, if I click on 1080p, for example, for a 4K clip, so I'm now underscaling and ensuring that I keep that 4K resolution, that 4K crispness, not Christmas, and we scroll down, what you'll see is the target bitrate has been set at 20 megabytes. Now, if we go back, for 1080p, it's 8 megabytes per second and 12 megabytes per second for high frame rate. So again, we're kind of asking ourselves, why is it set so high? Why is it 20 megabytes when, you know, the recommended bitrate for it is 12? That's like, it's loads. It's another 8 megabits. Like, where's that going? Now, what Premiere is doing is giving yourself that exported overhead, which most social media platforms will need, which they will then compress. So that extra 8 megabits, part of that is going to be compressed, but it still leaves the HD threshold of the 12 megabytes per second video, which you need to ensure your video is HD, completely untouched. So what you're basically doing is like, you're giving a little bit of extra to the compression algorithm, which it compresses, and then it leaves the rest of your video completely untouched, meaning you've got a HD file every single time. Now, I do this in Premiere. It's really, really easy. I mean, the presets are there. It ensures that it's exported at that. Obviously, you've got things like bitrate encoding. If no one knows what that means, I can do another video about that. It's really, really, really easy once you dumb it down and scratch your head and all that kind of stuff. But I enjoy dumbing things down to a level where people understand it. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Hope this has helped. Hope this video has helped some people. I could do a follow-up video showing you how this works with examples of 4K and 1080p files. More than happy to do that. Leave me a comment down below and I'll be sure to get back to that and do it in the next couple of days. Peace out, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Peace.